Ladies and gents, welcome to a Play All 3 in Titans League Gold. The goal, again, obviously, for these big names is either stay alive in Gold or eventually move on out of Gold into Platinum for the next season. It's a promotion relegation system within Age of Empires 2, the first of its kind, and I'm excited to be casting these two. So, coming into this, Sitaux looked really good. I believe he's played 2 sets, and he is 5-1. So I need to actually check that because Hardy's going to edit this on screen later. And Hardy's going to probably comment about how stupid I am that I didn't end up having the information ready on my side. Because I want to seem informed here, okay? So we're going to seem informed. We had large delays getting the series started, so that's my excuse. We are looking at Sitaux 5-1. I was correct after 2 rounds. And then after 2 rounds for Dragonstar, he is actually 4-2. So not too bad of a situation for Dragonstar to be in. In terms of the calibers of players, Sitaux is who I predict to be number 1 in this group. So maybe a situation for Dragonstar where he aims to get 1 win and to feel happy about the situation here. Okay? It is possible Sitaux will get a lot of 3-0s. I think Sitaux has shown that he's vulnerable, though. Like, the fact that he got relegated out of Platinum showed he's a little bit vulnerable in the Play All 3 settings. Does drop some games here or there. Obviously, that was Platinum, though. Still think Sitaux definitely going to be one of the favorites to get promoted. Dragonstar is a player who loves to prepare, and I don't think you guys really get to appreciate him for that because you don't play with him, you don't practice with him, and sometimes it doesn't always pan out in terms of his execution. But the reason Dragonstar is up there, the reason Dragonstar is so good is because of how much practice he puts in. If you become a pro player someday and you want someone to practice with, give Dragonstar a message. I'm sure that he's going to be down to practice some games with you. Anyways, he moved forward pretty early here, map being Lands Madness. He used the Mongols. And usually with the Mongols, you don't move forward so early. Normally, what you're aiming to do is you're aiming to push in all your hunt. So the fact that he went forward to try and lame is a little bit abnormal here. It's also hard to find your opponent because what are you looking for? You can't look for the gold. You can look for the 4-tile gold, I guess, but there's just so many resources spread out in this map. But I guess for Dragonstar, he's still able to push in some tiers. Should be fine. T90 so organized. He seems so well informed. I had it right. Dragonstar actually played his second round 3 hours ago. He played it against Stark, where he won 3-0. And I believe Sitaux had already played Stark as well. So both of these guys won 3-0 against Stark, who is one of our promoted players. So I imagine it's going to be scouts here for the Mongols. Sitaux is a very flexible civ in the Malians. We actually saw this matchup in a previous cast on a water map. And that was a great game between Sebastian and Hart. If you want a good competitive series, highly suggest you check out that one. The Mongols, though, once there's no more hunt to take, it does feel like they don't have as many bonuses to work with. I could see Dragonstar wanting to go towards lots of Lancers. Lancers seem to be the go-to right now for players playing as the Mongols, but economically, you don't have any eco bonus once you're not taking hunt. The Malians have cheaper wood buildings, and they get a bit of boost with the gold income. So having a wood and gold bonus and a really good tech tree makes the Malians way better, in my opinion, here. As long as the Malians don't take damage. We'll see how it ends up going. 2 lumber camps here for Sitaux. On Land Madness, you cannot wall on the rock terrain, guys. So we're not going to see much full walling here. It'll be a lot of small walling around the wood lines to keep villagers protected. Uptime's actually going to be identical for these guys. So that's really nice. And, ooh, Dragonstar's going to go forward. Ooh, this is interesting. Okay, so Dragonstar is a really good player when it comes to forwards. I've seen him do it successfully with Byzantines and Huns, which is more old-fashioned meta. But he likes these types of builds, and it makes it messy, which I think is the type of style he would need on this type of map versus Sitaux. What are these birds? Look how many birds are here. They're giving it away. Dude, birds, fly away. What are you doing? Sitau's gonna know. Can Sitaux see the birds? Ah, spoilers. What if that's actually how it worked? Like the birds followed your forward villagers. Look at this. There's birds everywhere. That's just the weird script thing. Not seeing birds anywhere else. It's like all the birds on the map are right here. Right over top of the forward, which is hilarious. Of all the places for them to be, they are directly on top of this. I'm not seeing a single bird elsewhere, guys. Okay, there's one. He's stuck as well. Something's up with these birds. What's happening? Flying backwards as well. Okay. So, this is a trash forward. Mongols aren't known for their spears and skirm bonuses or anything. But the idea here is just to make it messy. And Sitaux, he sees the barracks now? But that was after he did a couple circles around Dragonstar's base and was like, what? I don't see any military buildings. And now he's going to see the tower. And now he should know it's also going to be skirms as well. You should have an understanding that that's what the play ends up being. So the tower's going to go up. The tower's going to be partially walled in, not fully walled in. Now where Dragonstar's exposed is at home right now. So he's prepping some walls. Has not walled fully around the berries. I love the lack of hesitation from Sitaux to make the move now. And you know, not wait too long. And he's going to drop a tower here on the wood line. You might be thinking, well, skirms, they're not going to kill villagers that quickly, T90. Why drop a tower? Well, it'll be disruptive. And it will eventually kill something if you're not careful. So, I like what Sitaux has done. There's been 2 instances where he doesn't hesitate. Initially, he sends the scouts forward. Now, obviously, Dragonstar was prepared. Well played to him. But still, he went forward. And then he went to stone. Now, I'm not sure I like this 6 on stone. But he could always just pull villagers off of stone later. He just wanted to have the wood lines protected right away. And Dragonstar's not going to expect this. He saw the first tower, and normally what that means is your opponent's not going to have another tower. And Dragonstar's probably like, whoa, okay. Not seeing any... Oh, actually, no, these villagers are exposed. Dragonstar sees it and gets the quick walls down. However... because of the positioning, he can't actually drop off the food from these vills, right? Or with those vills. I'm actually wrong. I think... yeah, see, the reason Sitau's staying here is because he realizes these villagers can't get to the mill. So they're as good as dead right now. However, the bush is about to be taken. And once the bush is taken from these villagers can go over to the mill. So just a little bit of idle time. It's not that big a deal. Spears are coming home anyways. And here comes Dragonstar. He had been mining stone on the front. And he wants to tower the other side of Sitau's woodline right now. Really interesting game. Oh, man. Scout with an opportunity to kill vills. You can't really quick wall in this area, right? Because of the stone. So that could be a vill kill for Dragonstar. It is going to be a vill kill for Dragonstar. Dang. So Dragonstar, he's going to have the edge in terms of villagers. And he's going to have a tower up behind that wood line there. But Sitaux wants some revenge. He goes underneath the TC and says, hello, my friend. Loses a scout, but does kill a villager. Nice revenge there. Bit of awkwardness here with the eco setup here for Dragonstar. He's got a lot of villagers that don't have a job right now. I think he was probably placing the palisades around his tower because he doesn't want that to be rushed down. But yeah, this eco is messy. Look at his wood count. You need farms with that right now if you're Dragonstar. It feels like the farm count for Sitaux is much better. I mean, Sitau's just done a better job at spending his resources thus far. Speaking of, I think he wants a mill there on those berries. That would be nice because he can't take these berries right now. And okay, he's going to go for another defensive tower. So defensive tower has been the name of the game. Overchop! 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 Well, 2 scouts can't go in there and kill villagers, actually. And whoo! I mean, they could maybe kill one, but you'd probably lose both the scouts. All right. Spearman at home to protect the gold for Dragonstar. Dragonstar's villagers that were making that tower are now on hunt. Something Sitaux can see. You can see the deer in the darkness. Now, Sitau's made more scouts, maybe because of that. It wouldn't shock me if he brings in the army here. But the spears and the skirms are actually here protecting. It's interesting, though. All the spearmen are really weak, and I'm not sure if Sitaux knows that. Where are you going, lady? Feels like Sitaux bringing Vills to deal with this. Now, see the mining camp. See the villagers aren't there. Okay, Sitaux needs gold, actually. He didn't scout any of the golds here. And Dragonstar. This could be really bad for him. Yeah, Sitaux definitely knows those spears are weak. Yeah, he must have remembered from the engagement he took next to the stone. And what a find for Sitaux. Dragonstar just hung around here too long. Was a little too greedy with the hunt. He will lose every single unit on the screen here. And a beautiful find for Sitaux. And now Sitaux will have full map control. Does still need to make his way to Castle Age, though. So we have a 4-1 Eco KD in Feudal Age here. Dragonstar clicks up to Castle Age, though. Remember I mentioned the Lancers. It feels like he's in a decent position to build up towards Lancers. You don't need a ton on gold to make Lancers. He's got enough Spearmen at home to defend from the Scouts, in theory. The food eco's going to be there. And he has the stable at home. So had Dragonstar not lost those villagers, would have been a better position for him. But obviously, like, what do you even do with them then? I think we just have to credit Sitaux for making that much army. And Sitaux, he's on the way to Castle Age now. And so he's a minute behind, but he still has the scouts that he can work with, which I think could give him a lot of value in the long run. I'd like to see him pull one of the weak ones away and scout the rest of the map just for the long term. Kind of like this skirmisher's doing right now. Double stable here for Dragonstar. He will not have the stone to make a second town center. I don't think that's part of his plans. You see him double checking the wood lines. That was an overchop. Doing the smart things. Had he not checked that, it might have been GG there if he lost the whole wood line. I think Dragonstar is going to have a decent amount of time to work with here on these Step Lancers, especially because the base is very exposed for Sitaux. You can't wall on this map, right? So, you know, Step Lancers could find some areas to attack. From what Dragonstar's seen, he's seen the berries, he's seen the wood, he's seen the stone, he's seen the wood. He doesn't see the golds being taken. He might assume this one's being taken, but still, I mean, there's lots of open spots. And look at the play here from Dragonstar. So often we have players going all in Step Lancers. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, well, okay, good luck rest of the game. Here he goes, I'll open Step Lancers for kills. My opponent's probably going to go Knights or Camels against that. So let's just add Camels immediately afterwards. This is a confident approach. A lot of players don't do this. He truly believes that he could possibly boom into the long term here. Now, these scouts have more upgrades than they did before, so it's something you have to be really careful about if you're Dragonstar. And here goes his Lancers. Sitaux, though, has walled up for the most part. Farmers are exposed, though, so Dragonstar will look to get kills, but Sitaux has the Camels already. The Lancers able to move away here. And the Camels for Dragonstar are going to meet up in this area. So I think advantage Sitaux, right? Because Sitaux is the stone for the next TC. Sitaux is the more flexible civ overall. Mongols aren't taking any more hunt. But it's not out of reach at all for Dragonstar, and with a couple good engagements, everything can change. Dragonstar just seems a little bit more exposed in some ways. And here he's got the Camels to protect his stone miners. And here he goes in with this same group. But Sitaux has played really clean thus far. Two really good players. A lot is happening here, but a great engagement for Sitaux, who is ahead in villagers already. And now he's ahead in army count. And think of the way the army operates too, right? Like the light cav, the scouts could, be upgraded to light cav. The scouts can still kill villagers. The scouts can be used against monks. Not having any additional scouts is going to make life a bit more awkward here for Dragonstar. What map is this? It's called Land Madness. There's a lot of different versions of Land Madness in the game. But yeah. This is a map that I think you should be able to find if you look in your list of standard maps on DE. Pretty sure it's in there. I'm not sure if this version is the same as the ranked version. It'll be very similar. The main thing is the food types. how many berries, how many deer, all that stuff changes. Again, Dragonstar keeping an eye on his wood line. Making sure he doesn't overchop. A good play from him there because he knew that pressure was going to be coming in here. Second TC will go up. It's already up for Sitaux, but now goes up there for Dragonstar. The like-have upgrade does come in for Sitaux. I like how he's been moving his units around here. 15 to 4 KD for him. Dragonstar had a death in there. That was not by the hands of Sitaux. It was that tiger that I think just died a moment ago over here. You guys might have caught that. Good finds there from Dragonstar. And there's 8 camels for Dragonstar. There's 10 for Sitaux. There's monks for both. So I think it's going to be really tough for players to do much more than boom right now. Because you can't really kill villagers with camels. Not that easily anyways compared to knights. And you can't kill monks as quickly with camels. So the monks should get conversions almost every time they see a camel. Meaning that if players show up, they're probably going to run away with their camels. However, the scout finds a monk kill. Nice play there from Dragonstar. He didn't have as many scouts, but he created a couple of them. Weak camels kind of getting saved. This is a fight that is still better for Sitaux, even though he doesn't have the hill. The Dragonstar is not going to hate the fight too much, but he needs to back away now. I think he's not doing so because he's microing elsewhere. I'm probably trying to micro this and maybe even adding farms, but it's been all Sitaux so far, guys. It's been a great game, and you can see Dragonstar was trying to make it messy. But TC number 3 is already up for Sitaux with a bunch of farms. TC number 4 is going to go up. And if the camels and light cab don't do it, he could just shoot that tower down with his TC garrison. And it just... I think at this point, the game plan has changed for Dragonstar, and his thought process is Mangadai. I will have weak eco. I will need Mangadai. He's been very heavy on the stone here. So, crazy macro game for Sitaux. He'll have a Vil lead. The goal for him will be able to have a good enough economy where he can push back the Mangadai with his stable units. There is a world where Dragonstar goes forward castle, guys. Like, he just saw this, and he knows about this as well. He kind of has an idea of what his opponent has. I think it'd be risky, but if he were to advance forward with his 6 camels and his 6 monks and drop the castle forward, might be pretty epic. But you never really want to do that with Mongols because you want your castle up safely to be able to mass the Mangadai. So, like, surely you got to recognize that you need to do some more immediate damage to your opponent. I think that's where he's doing. Oh, let's go. Here the Wololo there. All conversion for Sitaux. Oh, boy. Okay. Sitaux has outposts over here, so he would see any castle. That's where the castle's going to be. Oh, my goodness. I think it goes up. Yeah, I think this castle goes up. Castle's on the way up. We'll see camels converted from both. Probably, but then how do you stop the castle? I don't think you do. Dragonstar's castle is between 2 town centers. He can then make Mangadai out of it. He'll convert a couple camels. He still keeps some of his monks alive. That is a spicy castle. And it is a well-placed castle that gives him more access to stone. And he's going to range all of these villagers. Keep an eye on the worker efficiency stats here. I'm just going to leave this up. Worker efficiency last minute for Sitaux. Not looking too hot. And now suddenly this becomes a very messy game, right? How do you macro well when 2 of your town centers are underneath castle fire? And now you don't know where Dragonstar is going to go. Like, Dragonstar could go here or Dragonstar could go here. You also can't really do a lot of damage to your opponent right now because you just have camels. And it's hard to kill villagers with camels. This is an example of that, right? You're not going to see villagers die very quickly. So, you know, Dragonstar really... with good gameplay there to recognize the castle needed to be forward. I think if he places a defensive castle, he'd have bigger problems. Ballistics is on the way. Bodcanero is on the way. All these things affect his castle and then his Mangadai. And Mangadai are a really good unit. And the weakness of camels is they're great against cav, but they're weak against arrow fire. They're weak against just all forms of arrow fire. Mangadai is one of the best units that has that shoots arrows in the game. Look at the idols in here, right? Like, you still want to create villagers out of your TCs, but, oh, it's so awkward. Dragonstar will defend against those camels there. And we haven't yet seen the Mangudai really move out, but here they are. Dragonstar's not finished yet, by the way. He will make more. He will drop another castle, and he will make more Mangudai. Where does he go, though, with that next castle? How much food income does he have at the moment? Will he be able to find villager kills, and in this case, camel kills? Feels like he might be tempted to castle here, or he might be tempted to castle here. One or the other. I'd prefer the latter, because I think this is all new eco. This is all established eco. You want this next castle right here. Yep. Dragonstar and I, we think alike. Dang, dude. Sitaux is probably scrambling at the moment. He's got TCs everywhere, but he can't stop these castles, and he can't kill the Mangudai. And again, his idle time is really rising right now. Not that Dragonstar's is looking all that hot. Dragonstar dropping castle number 2 in a spot that will range more villagers and more town centers, while also camping these resources. The other thing, too, is Mangudai do not cost food. So you don't need to have 30, 40, 50 farms to go in. The farm count that Dragonstar has right now might actually end up being okay. And it looked so clean for Sitaux. He kind of undermade army, and he wasn't really able to stop the initial castle from going up, and it's all fallen apart from there. The Mangudai are finding kills everywhere you look. And Dragonstar, who hung on by the skin of his teeth in the previous season to stay alive in Titans League. I think he was 4th place in his group last time in gold. He comes in here against the favorite. And he's about to click up to Imp with 13 Mangudai. And double castle. And it's going to be more, because he's got stone everywhere. That also, villagers died here. What an interesting play here. How many TCs does Sitaux make in this game? Sitau's TCs everywhere. Well, Sitaux really needs Imp right now. He needs Imp, and he needs a way to take those castles out. But there's villagers exposed everywhere. And at this point, Sitau's lost 20 villagers in this game. There's still more villagers underneath here that are going to go down. I don't think the Mangudai are going to care about a tower that doesn't have fletching. And here, I don't know which TC is the Imp TC. The TC's over here, if you're wondering, but the Mangudai are still gonna be flooding in constantly. This is interesting. We've got a castle here for Sitaux, who now only has a 7 villager lead. But I still don't know what army he can make, and I don't think his eco is going to be that efficient at all. He's got less on food. He's got less on wood. This castle, it gives him access to trebuchets soon to maybe get close to those castles. But it's not close enough to those castles where I could see him accomplishing much. Dude, what a crazy game. What a crazy game from Dragonstar. Like, to my live viewers, smile at me in the chat if when you saw that Dragonstar was behind in Vills and they were both just booming and adding town centers, that you thought this game was going to be over and Sitaux was going to win. That's where I was. Now, I did recognize that Dragonstar had a lot on stone, but even still, it was like 4 TCs versus 2, and it's, you know, the favorite. And it was the amount on stone and then bringing the monks forward with the amount of army he did. That was enough for Dragonstar. And ever since he got this position, it's been insane. And Sitaux taps out. Dragonstar takes the game. And what an interesting game it was. A big victory for him in terms of the standings. In gold, you do get $20 a win as well. So I'm sure he's not going to be too disappointed about that. And that was a fun one to watch. It's very uncommon these days that you see players play into Mangudai with Mongols. If anything, we're seeing Lancers. So the fact that we got to see a castle drop, a forward castle too, into all these Mangudai was pretty sweet. And from here, I think it is GG. Dragonstar's Mangudai can't be killed. He's going to upgrade them further. He could have 2 more castles soon. It only gets worse for Sitaux from here, who has like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then didn't he lose 2 TCs? Like 7, 8, 9? He had 9 TCs in this game. That's a lot of town centers. Okay. So we'll move on to the next map. Now, the way this series is covered is a bit different. I'll explain that a bit later, but we know that the next game will be Dragonstar's home map. So I think that's Migration. I think Migration is game 2. And then game 3 will be Fractal. I can give more details on that a bit later. What a fun one. Let's actually check res collected real quick. Yeah, so Sitaux had more food and wood. But it just reached a point where he didn't have a unit to stop the Mangudai. And the economy that he'd invested into, like the farm positions, the TCs, all that stuff, it all became extremely inefficient. I think for Sitaux, if you're wondering what he does to stop this, he needs more army. He stopped making army. It was 6 camels and 6 monks without sanctity that were able to secure the castle position. I think if Sitaux has 5 more light cav, a couple more camels, he actually denies the castle and wins the game quite convincingly. So it was a boom war, but he just didn't make a lot of army because he thought it was going to go late and didn't expect Dragonstar to take such a massive risk there. Okay, so as we catch up to live time, I'm immediately very curious on what we're going to see in this game, because when I think civilizations for migration, I think Malay, Japanese, Portuguese, Vikings, Italians. There may be a couple other civilizations that come to your mind. But Khmer is not the civilization that comes to my mind. Dragonstar comes into this one with the Khmer. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. And then we've got the Malay over on this side for Sitaux. But I want to start with Sitaux Civ, because I want people to know why Malay is on that list of civilizations that make sense, and then why Khmer maybe don't make sense. But bear with me here. I've done this with every migration game. We're going to remove the mods so the trees will get larger. I just think the water looks a bit nicer here, and big trees are good to mix in. But, okay, so watch the vision on this dock. Actually, no. Watch the vision on this dock. This is a standard dock's vision, okay? Now, look at the Malay player. Oh! So that's nice, right? You don't pick Malay just because your docks have more vision, but that is very helpful, both now and throughout the rest of the game. But Malay are great water civ, and obviously there's a lot of water here. They advance faster to the next stage, which allows them to get really good rush timings, really good castle or imp timings. And they also have great fishing bonuses to work with, too. If you have leftover fishing ships and then you run out of fish, then you can go for fish traps, for example, right? And the fish traps have 2,500 food on them. It used to be infinite. Devs were like, we don't want infinite anymore. And they just nerfed it, even though it's still pretty strong now. So, yeah, Malay, water control, good fishing economy, and then eventually advancing in towards the middle. Let's say both players have castles in the middle, and then it's a rush to the Imperial Age. Well, guess what? If it's a rush to the Imperial Age, Malay advance faster. So, it makes sense. Khmer, they don't have the best water tech tree, to my knowledge. The real thing you think about with Khmer in competitive AoE2 is they don't need their buildings to advance to the next stage, or to unlock the next thing. So if you want to go for a scout rush, you can just open with the stable, instead of having to build the barracks. So, you think of that and you think of their farming eco. I think that this will be a fast castle from Dragonstar, because that's the only thing that makes sense to me, right? Then he can skip the market and skip the blacksmith. So it's essentially a more efficient fast castle. And in theory, a faster fast castle than some other civs could do. I think that's what he's going to attempt here. I still think the lack of water bonuses could be a big issue for him. And holy moly, Sitaux is going double dock galleys here. And he is not at all going to try a fast castle on this side. He's going to be in feudal age in 30 seconds. So yeah, Calpit, I agree. I think you had kind of said it before I got to say it here in the cast, it looks like, but I think the best way to make use of the Khmer bonuses, if you're picking the Khmer, would be fast castle, and then you just play into fire ships. So, okay, there are wolves here. And I am going to remove the wolves on migration. I think the players, to my knowledge, no one's brought up the wolves, but I saw in a series earlier there were wolves. I don't like the fact there's wolves on migration. I don't think there should be. It is my event, so I think we will have to remove that overnight or something. It's not that big a deal, but like, you're typically bringing villagers out here blindly. It adds a bit of RNG to really important aspects, and I don't like wolves on maps where you have to send villagers to go dock places. Like Scandinavia, for example, used to have wolves, and I was big against removing them for tournaments. I think they've now removed it for the base version of Scandi in the game. Well, so earlier what happened is we had a game where the Japanese player was going for 10 fishing ships, fast castle, and then it was the Dravidian player going fast feudal into galleys. And so in that game, the galley player took so long to get over, which is common on migration. So you can see it's taken some time. They weren't able to kill any fishing ships, and then the Japanese player punched back. But part of the reason the Japanese player was able to punch back, and part of the reason the Japanese player didn't take losses, is because it was Japanese fishing ships. Khmer fishing ships aren't as strong, so fishing ships will absolutely go down here for Dragonstar. There's no doubt. And here there's a villager on the dock, and whoop, into the house she goes. That's a Khmer bonus, so that's good. So it's taken some time for Sitaux to get over here, but look what Sitaux has done here. He's actually just added 3 galleys. I really like this. He added 3 galleys, and now he's gone crazy with fish. So what was he at? 3 fishing ships before? And now he's up to 8. And Dragonstar calls GG. Okay. What in the crap was that, dude? What in the crap was that? That was so not big brain. And Dragonstar just feels like I actually don't have the food to go up, and I really regret this build order. So, yeah, game's over at 12 minutes. Woo, fun stuff. Okay. Well, that was not great. I agree with Dragonstar's assessment of the situation that this wasn't going to go well. Let's see. How much did he even have on food at this point? Hold on. Right before he GG's. Well, he's got 2 fires on the way. All of his food economy is fishing ships, and he's going to lose all of them. And he doesn't have anything on berries yet. So, I mean, I think I personally like to see a lot more of a fight. But the score is 1-1 now, and yeah. So here's the deal. I think I need to bring this up now. So the way this series played out was Fractal was game number 1, and Fractal is what we're going to cast next. And basically, they forgot to put spectators on. So we're going to cast the Fractal Wreck now. The score is 1-1. And the only spoiler I can really give you, because I didn't watch the game, because no one could, because they kept it on private, I'm going to lean towards the fact that it was an incredibly long game, because between the time they said they were starting the game and when they eventually started game number 2, it was a large period of time. So this game sucked, but it's possible that based on however exhausting that game was, the Fractal game, which we're about to cast, that maybe that played a role here. Anyways, good result there for Sitaux. All right, friends. So in what is the 3rd game in this series, we have a very fun map here, and this may actually be the first time I've ever covered this map. This map is Fractal, and this is part of a series in T90 Titans League Gold. Very important for the players to get results here. I'm going to have to go small trees, though, because there's some massive trees. Sorry, big tree lovers. But anyways, in the red, we've got Dragonstar. I'll give a little bit more context in terms of the series and whatever else in a bit. But I got to break down how this map works, okay? So we're going to see a very early lumber camp for Dragonstar. And you'll notice that both players have kind of found this little spot where they're closer to chopping through. Now, in most situations, chopping through wouldn't be a real possibility, but these reeds only have 50 wood. So it's just part of the map here. So both players going into this area so they can chomp their way through to the water so they can then dock and then fight for fish. Both players trying the same thing. So for the Lithuanians, for Sitaux, you do start with 150 extra food. So it feels a lot easier for your economy to be able to take this risk and send villagers to wood early. For Dragonstar, he's actually having a bit of tough time producing villagers right now. You see this, just now got the 50 food. He's had the TC idle time because he's tried to send the vills early. In late game, I think Bohemians can be really strong on closed maps, and this can become a bit of a closed, messy map at times. Sometimes players will wall up towards the middle, protect all their resources here. There's a lot of stone and gold forward, and then you can, of course, eventually chop through to the outer ring where there's more tree walls, and then more stone and gold, and then there's even more stone and gold here. So there's stone and gold like everywhere. But, okay, check this out. Sitaux, he's going to build a palisade here. This is really interesting. Because basically what your long term is, obviously you want to chop through, but after that, you want more villagers on wood for the dock. But Sitaux has already done this, right? So he knows his opponent will try and use that lumber camp with more villagers. So he's basically denied that opportunity, which I think is really smart. And his villagers continued to walk around, and whoa, what a play! Sitaux has waltzed through here using the uniqueness of the map, and he has now trapped Dragonstar's scout. Well, maybe not, actually. The gate is still quite weak. Dragonstar, I think, he has a decision to make, and if he tries to attack that. He could honestly bring a Vill to attack the gate. I think that's the play. Yeah. That's the play. Oh, and now he should be able to break out. Okay. So you attack the gate, and now you've been able to jailbreak. Interesting stuff here. Dragonstar pushing a lot of zebras underneath his TC. He is not going to want a villager behind his base, though, because this is like a safe area for your stone and gold. So I feel like this is YouTube written all over it because of the uniqueness of the map. And I am really happy that we're including this in this season, because I think there's a meta that can be learned, that can evolve over time with this. This isn't the first time that we've seen this map in tournaments before. There's a tournament called RMS Cup that featured this map. But this is one of my favorites from that map. And see the difference in how things have played out, right? Sitaux, already able to chop through, has more on wood. He is able to dock and add fishing ships. And for Dragonstar, granted, he isn't exactly microing this the same way, but he's not able to make a dock yet. Should have probably had 2 villagers on this street, but yeah. So I would lean towards Dragonstar playing a little bit more towards land because of this. But I don't know exactly what the choices will be just yet. Now, there's something else I was going to say about this map, and it's completely slipped my mind. One of my favorite phrases in Age of Empires 2 is dock block, okay? And so if you want, you can dock block your opponent by docking here. Every time. There's always a dock block potential. So let's say you didn't want to fight for water. You could keep your fishing ship safe by building a dock here and blocking it. So dock blocking is actually quite common on this map. And I wonder if Dragonstar is going to build a dock that's part of a block because he feels like he doesn't want to fight water. Like, look, he might build his dock here. Where's he going? What's he doing? He's going to make a palisade. That doesn't help block it. Seems to be walking this way for more efficient chopping or fishing. I mean, sometimes players will bring their villager along the shoreline, so that's probably what that palisade is for. In the end, he decides to dock here. I don't think it's worth going for a second dock right now. I think you have to save that wood for something else. Okay, a couple walls coming this direction. Still no build up towards barracks for either player, and we see villagers heading over to mine golds here for Sitaux. So Sitaux is thinking water approach. I could easily see the water approach as well for Dragonstar, but honestly, Sitaux has had a significantly stronger Dark Age. If you check res collected, this should reflect that. I don't know if you consider that significant, but that's very helpful. And I don't think the extra 100 food that you start with the Lithuanians is reflected in the resources collected, right? So he's got a lead with resources collected, as well as he started with more resources. He's not seeing a second dock for Sitaux. He's going for a barracks. And so this makes me think, normally when players are going barracks off of one dock, they are still going to make navy. But they're probably going to go, like, archers. Because basically, navy is wood and gold, and then, yeah, the land army is also wood and gold. Just makes it a lot easier. Here's the dock block. Okay, so we don't actually have navy yet from Sitaux. But dock block is in. These palisades are going to be, like, as a caster, I constantly look at the minimap, and I'm like, oh, blue. Oh, crap. Okay, that's from before. It's going to be really obnoxious. I apologize. There's nothing Dragonstar, in theory, could have done to prevent the difference in resources. Well, he could have scouted the villager and then fought it off with new villagers. But yeah, I agree that the way Sitaux played this made it very difficult for Dragonstar to be able to really avoid some of the damage that's been done here. And don't forget how important that scout is, guys. Both players having their scout right now. Sitau's scout isn't weak. We know that from earlier. And honestly, like, I think Dragonstar's strategy is going to be something ridiculously YOLO here. Look, he's towering his berries. He doesn't have any military buildings. He's fish booming. He's basically going as greedy as possible with his economy. And I think his best friend's going to be the market. Look at this. So there's one mining camp. It can be used for the stone. It can be used for the gold. If I had to guess, I would say this is market into a castle age. And I think maybe even the wagons out of the castle for Bohemians. But if Sitaux ever gets through, and Sitaux doesn't see his units are running past the town center here. If Sitaux gets through with anything, it could be disastrous for Dragonstar. Full greed for Dragonstar. And more calculated, aggressive approach here for Sitaux. Sitaux on 9 fishing ships right now. The Dragonstar at 7. And Dragonstar... Oh boy, wow, we have a tower here. Interesting. Dragonstar sees this. He's going to plug this gap with the market. And he's going to drop a stone wall here. I think this villager is going to be fine on the shorefish for the time being. But yeah, a fast castle. Kind of, sort of, for Dragonstar. Very unique game. So again, I want to check resources collected. Yeah, Sitaux is ahead. But remember, Bohemians get both mining upgrades for free. And Fuelage and then Castle. So the mining is really going to be a strong positive for Dragonstar. Sitaux recognizing he needs to do something because he's not seeing anything from Dragonstar. And it probably means Castle Age, and he's going to drop a tower here. The Dragonstar is going to drop a defensive tower. Now, this could get a bit weird. Because with 5 archers here, Sitaux will simply just put his archers inside of this tower. And these villagers can actually just get to work. Yeah, that's what should happen, right? Yeah. So now it's 5 idols for Dragonstar, and it's 0 idols for Sitaux. But then again, I don't know if these villagers will actually want to work here. They might need to repair. It's easier said than done. But okay, there is a fire here to attack the dock, and Dragonstar is actually adding a galley, I assume, to sit on the other side of the dock. That's so unique. See how Dragonstar is trying to distract the tower fire from Sitaux? Yeah, this is going to be a castle drop for Dragonstar. Now, I think it was like 2 weeks ago. Chat, well, actually, wait. Okay, so there is a pub build right now, which is a public preview build of the next patch, okay? And they have proposed changing the Hussite wagon. And I have said that I think the Hussite wagon is... I know it's awkward, but I don't think it should be buffed. Because I think the unit's super difficult to deal with. in key situations. And you know, some people were like, oh, it's going to be stronger. Other people are like, it's going to be weaker. I feel as though the devs are actually looking to buff the wagon, which I think is a slippery slope thing when the Bohemians already have so many strengths. So, let's see. We're going to have double Monastery for Dragonstar. He's going to kill a villager. First kill of the game, by the way. The monks make some sense against a civilization that could go for knights. And Sitaux doesn't really know. Like, Sitaux's like, what's he doing? What on earth is he doing right now? Dragonstar also trying to see what Sitaux might do. So it's just going to be monks. And he doesn't have the stone for a castle yet, but I assume he's going to buy the castle, right? They're better versus low armor units like Infantry Expo, which they're already significantly good due to the HP and terrible versus knights. Got it. Yeah. It's really tricky for me because I'm part of behind the scenes conversations on things, and I can't really speak too much. I haven't actually tested the new wagons, so my viewers would probably have more knowledge on that than I. But at least the current wagons, I do feel like are very awkward to stop and can be really awkward to deal with. This is funny. This villager's looking for the next fish and is within range of that tower. All right. Is this just going to be fast imp here off a fish boom for both players? What an interesting game. It kind of makes sense. Ooh, scout. The scouts have accomplished a lot here this game. Feels like Dragonstar just wants to go imp. Not going to make any wagons, which bums me out. I honestly wanted to see all-in wagons, but it makes sense. He doesn't really have the res for right now. And Sitaux clicks imp. Yo, Derek, thanks for the stars, man. All right, so we're going to see a castle from Sitaux, I assume. In a very important area next to his monasteries and next to his golds and stones. The golds and stones being on the front means you got to lock it down. Sitaux doesn't have the stone for the castle just yet. Shouldn't be a big concern, though, because there's not a significant force coming from Dragonstar either. Now, I think what would be nice for Dragonstar is if he could eventually chop through... Oh, wait, what? Oh, he walked around. Okay, so he already did chop through and he walked around. Okay, he's got a bunch of vills on golds here. Sorry, I was like, wait, what? Did he jump over the trees? Did he hurdle? Monk is checking for relics and whatever else in here. Also, the scout from Dragonstar. God, the scouting, guys, has been so good. The scout for Dragonstar checked this to see if there's any villagers there. And he does also see the castle going up. Now, the Bohemians can get chemistry in Castle Age, but this feels like more of a Treb war than a Cannon war due to the low eco. Keep in mind, the 14 fishing ships that Sitaux has, that's a lot more than Dragonstar, but he's about to finish his fish in a second. So he's going to really need to think about fish traps or something. And Sitaux also with the potential to run back here and find resources, but he didn't check. So he doesn't see any of that gold yet. But it's 7 monks for Dragonstar. It is 5 monks for Sitaux. This is going to be a monk battle. And what a fun game this has been. You could tell these guys have played this map before. I think Sitaux and Dragonstar both played an RMS Cup. They both felt like fishing ships were really important, and that building up towards imp would be the play. And honestly, it feels like it will absolutely be the right play from both of them, because had you stayed in Castle Age for Sitaux, I'm not sure how you break this. But I mean, the first Treb's already on the way for Dragonstar. Treb for Sitaux is already out, though, so that's a positive. Monks are going to switch sides here, potentially. The scout finally goes down, and the conversions look fairly even there. Now, stone income's huge, and the stone income for both is going to be on the front of their base. For Dragonstar, he's gone for 2 castles. But he doesn't have stone really to repair this too long because this is where he was mining stone. You could see he actually pulled repair villagers to go mine. And here's the stone mining for Sitaux, but Sitaux just has one castle. It's one castle, but he's got 2 trebs. Dragonstar's about to have 3 trebs. I feel like if Dragonstar can just repair his castles by buying the stone, he will eventually win the castle war. And then in potentially the treb war, because he'll have more trebs, and he can just treb down the trebs from Sitaux. I think Dragonstar is in the better position. He also has more monks than Sitaux, but Sitaux is going to have a few more than him in a second. Oh, man, this castle... Okay, I mean, it still could go down. It could just be 1 castle for Dragonstar. There's 4 trebs on the field versus the 3 from Sitaux. That still could go either way, but Sitau's going to have to repair here. And Sitaux has expanded his economy a bit with the second town center there. But, I mean, food eco is going to be a struggle because he needs to fish trap, and he doesn't have many fish traps yet. Castle down for Dragonstar. Trebs for Sitaux going to be pulled back here. Yeah, and it's unfortunate for him that he goes forward. Oh, it could have been so much worse. It's unfortunate for him that he can't make more trebs now. And now he won't be able to make as many monks because he's going to lose the monasteries. The relics are also going to be a bit of a gift for Dragonstar. If the food eco was stronger for Sitaux, which he will, I'm sure, work on, he could maybe make light cav. Because if the trebs and the monks are out here, they would be exposed. When you're underneath the castle, you could be okay. Dragonstar for now, though, is just like, no. I'm not going to let you do that. Oh, is Sitaux going to treb down the dock? That would be epic. Okay, he's going to treb down the market. That's also pretty epic, to be honest, because both players are using the market pretty heavily. Look at Dragonstar selling all of what was left of his stone so he could get heresy. So if his units are converted, it dies now instead of switching sides. That is an expensive upgrade, but a potentially game-changing upgrade here. Because he doesn't have the monk numbers that Sitaux does. He also doesn't have the vill count that Sitaux does. He also doesn't have the fish trap count that Sitaux does. Sitau's been fish trapping pretty nicely over here. How many fish traps are there? I gotta click them. He's got 13 fish traps. He actually has almost every one fish trapped. Whoa, that's pretty epic. Okay, so let me check res collected at this point. Okay, so Sitau's ahead. The gold count is much higher for Dragonstar because of the mining upgrades, of course. But, like, this food eco, it's bad, man. I mean, most of these farms don't even have farmers right now. But if you have heresy, it can change things in a monk war. I think Sitaux might pick up on the fact his opponent has heresy because he saw the monk die. And he's going to get it as well, isn't he? Oh, he's going to get it as well. You get heresy, I get heresy. We refuse to switch to your religion, for our faith is strong. And our religion is the only religion. Our God is the only God we will live for. All right. Double heresy. That's exactly what we expected in this game. What a fun one. I know there's going to be people asking for the food monks, but as I explained in my most useless unique tech video, which I made, like, I don't know, 5 or 6 months ago, all-in monk plays, normally you do not have good food count. So to like, get the tech is one thing because the tech is relatively expensive. But then to have monks that cost only food, kind of bad for you here. You don't want that. You want just gold. And as monks are going to die on either side for the cause, Dragonstar is still making the most progress here because he actually has more monks on the field. He's going to take out the castle. He could then use his trebs against monks if he wishes to. These 2 archers, they were once blue archers. They were before heresy existed. And okay, now heresy exists. Massive eco lead for Sitaux, though, guys. 94 economy versus 64. He should be able to contribute or to mix in things other than just monks right now. But there can be a point where it's too little too late, right? Like, if you start to drop stables, okay, and here it comes to go light cav. if your opponent is trebbing down the entirety of your base and already has 20 monks, you might not be able to get the mass going. So I think Dragonstar is doing the right thing where he's going for this slow creep. But I think at this point, there's so much darkness here. I think you need a castle. I think bringing villagers forward and dropping a castle next to your push is crucial. It makes it so much more difficult for your opponent to engage. Now, look at this for Sitaux. He knows Dragonstar is in here, and he wants to wall that up to make it more difficult for Dragonstar to do that. And again, Res Collected, we'll just take a quick look. Food count's insane for Sitaux. Dragonstar is not even fish trapping. He still has fish over here he hasn't even taken or scalded. But, you know, as Sitaux is losing houses, he's going to need to make more, and he really needs that massive light cap to be much higher. Fun game. All in plays, particularly from Dragonstar. As he's now getting redemption, so he can convert enemy buildings. And what you can do now is you can actually start conversions by switching onto a house and then switching away from that house, which leads to some slightly faster conversions. The castle's going up, the light cav going in. You can tell when the light cavs get converted because they just die. And the monks that Sitaux had left over have also helped here. But there's only 7 monks for Sitaux. There's only 7 light cav. The castle's still probably going to go up. It was a bold castle from Dragonstar. I would have placed it further back. This one had a lot more risk involved. But the castle goes up. Now that the castle's up, there's an actual weapon. There's something that can kill the light cap. So the light cap can't be close. And there's still only 1 treb for Sitaux. So Dragonstar just uses his trebs versus the treb from Sitaux. And Sitaux is going to lose this treb. Insane. Sitaux desperate for value with the light cav now. He tries to find more monk kills and runs directly into another castle. And so, like, Sitau's going to start to lose all these buildings next to these trebs. He really needs an answer to the trebs. Not a bad time for your second town center if you're Dragonstar. No horse collar, by the way. He barely has farms. Starting to add fish traps now. What a fun game. There's just not a lot of space to move around in right now if you're Sitaux. It takes so much speed to have to add farms. Bohemian Spearmen do additional bonus damage versus Cav. So having Spearmen in the mix is going to be so helpful here. And it's a struggle for me to see as Sitaux is adding more fishing ships and adding more fish traps. He's really doing everything he can. It's a struggle for me to see how Sitaux is able to push back these castles. If he could cut through here, if he could chop through here and start raiding the back, that'd be really strong. But that might take some time. I think he's just thought of that. But how do you stop the trebs? Also, that castle. This is huge. If Sitaux can make enough trebs, like get to 5 trebs as well, without Dragonstar seeing that castle, then he's got a much better chance. I just didn't think he'd be able to get to trebs. He's trying it. He's also upgrading to War Galley, which tells me he might want to just disrupt the fish in some way. Okay, he's maybe looking to break through here and add fires eventually to kill the fishing traps. Okay, Pikeman upgrade is in. Dragonstar is going to see that trap, and he's going to be like, wait a second, how? He must have a castle in the back corner. Little does he know that the castle's actually right here. Sitaux adding more houses because he's consistently having population problems, even though he's had more population in this game. And it's 13 pikes, 14 monks for Dragonstar. We do have chemistry on the way now for Sitaux. Hoping to maybe make bomber cannons. I don't know. I think hand cannons is probably what he's thinking. He might be dropping ranges if he's thinking hand cannons. Look at all the houses he's got to replace because he's lost so many of them here. Villagers from both are repairing trebs. These trebs are so valuable. And more monks and more pikes coming forward. Monks here hoping to convert some monks and convert some pikes on this side, which we know they'll just die. And what a game. What a push. An important series here in Titans League as well, right? Like, Sitaux is the favorite in the group. If Dragonstar gets 2 wins off of him, Dragonstar might even be able to potentially surpass him in the standings after these results. And you could argue it gets a little easier for Dragonstar in future sets, and this shows what Dragonstar is really made of. Finally, Dragonstar takes out the Trebs from Sitaux, and it almost felt like expected that this would happen. He's never felt like he's ever going to be able to stop these 5 Trebs. These Trebs have done so much. Now, yeah, 5 Trebs, 6 kills, probably all on other trebuchets. And Dragonstar says, let's do more of this. Just drop more castles. By the way, Dragonstar is like kind of running out of stone and gold in the middle area. It's all the stone and gold here. But still, there's nothing to stop him from doing that. There's no raids possible because of that natural wood wall over on this side. This is how your all-in pushes should go. You have the siege. You have your monks or whatever. You take a position, you castle it. You just keep creeping in with castles. And I think Sitaux is looking at the screen right now, and he's like, where do I go? What do I do? It's such an uncomfortable feeling for a player like Sitaux, who's so used to using his mobility and speed to, you know, not be able to do much here. But this would be an amazing find. We already know the food eco is bad for Dragonstar. So if he can kill all of this, it could be devastating. Dragonstar has no clue that that's happening. And also, the fishing economy is what's keeping Sitaux in the game. 25 fishing ships on fish traps right now. That's insane. Again, imagine if he started to chop through here. It wouldn't actually take that long because the trees only have 50 wood. Sitaux still has a greater population. This game is awesome. I'd like to see Dragonstar start to convert some of these buildings, personally. But, man, this fight for Sitaux! Let's go! And, hey, now we got some wagons, baby. More TCs, more farms without horse collar. But, hey, a farm's a farm. You're going to need it now. And you need to push. And, like, Dragonstar is probably like, where is this guy? Like, what's his next play? I don't see him anywhere. Look at this. It's wild to me that he just sees nothing back here. Dang. Yeah, now you start to convert some buildings, just clear out the buildings. And okay, now he sees the monks and he realizes that's where he is. Sitaux is building a castle, and he actually has enough stone for another castle soon as well. And, Lightcav going in. Lightcav going in. We'll find some good monk kills. The Halbs are out of position because they're attacking the houses here. I hate it when that happens. The hand cannons will get some decent kills. Okay, Sitau's doing pretty good here. I don't actually think you have a big answer to the wagons right now. The wagons are an amazing unit to mix in here. It's 200 HP, 17 attack. Their accuracy is an issue. That seems to be Dragonstar's thinking too. He says the wagons is actually my best tool. Oh man, a bomber cannon there went down. Might have been converted. Maybe it went down to a trap, but it also did take out the trap before it went down. And this is just ridiculous, man. This is just ridiculous. The outpost from Dragonstar tells you everything. He's worried that there could be a cut through, because if he starts to get raided here, he's got nothing. So he won't be chopping those trees. He needs another castle forward soon, feels like. How is Sitaux of this much eco? The fish traps have been so good for him. Wow. But guys, can you kill Hussite wagons with hand cannons? It's a confusing unit. A lot of people think it's bad. I think it's a really good unit. It's very good against ranged units. It's very good in combination with monks, because many of the things that can counter a wagon is siege. And then you just convert the siege. This is not elite Hussite wagon. It's just straight up only Hussite wagons at this point. Dragonstar's got 4 on food, so he can't even make halbs anymore. He's lost all of his water control as he's going to drop another castle here. So, Onager now for Sitaux and Redemption. You also need Redemption to be able to convert them, which is costly. So, Onager should do really well. If you can get a couple Onagers, you can flatten these things. And now the elite version's coming in for Dragonstar. Guys, Sitaux is like stuck in the corner here. But it's this corner that's actually the biggest thing. Like, if Dragonstar converted these docks, it would be devastating for Sitaux. It'd also be really funny, because I think the fishing ships would come over here to drop off the food then. Onager to cut? Yeah, Onager might be to cut through. That's a good point. And I wonder, does Dragonstar see that? Dragonstar doesn't see it. He is making a castle over here anyways. Oh, it is Onager to cut. Dang, man. What? Yeah, he's through. He's going to go in with light cap. Now, he's missing lots of upgrades. So, die to the castle, no problem. TC, all that. And then hand cannons. Whoa. What a game. This is one of the best games I've seen in so long. And, well, okay, Wagon's just rolling in. They don't care about castle fire. They don't care about your arrows, okay? They've got crazy Pierce armor. And Dragonstar is going to see this now. And this is the biggest mess. the most difficult situation to explain I may have ever encountered. Because it's just disastrous everywhere. Sitaux's taking losses. Dragonstar reacts now and realizes, oh no. But Sitaux's losing his entire base. And I think Sitaux's going to lose everything faster. Because over here we only have an Onager for siege. And on this side we have Trebs. What is this game? Pretty soon, both are going to have 0 villagers. And it's just going to be Sitaux with fish traps, it feels like. But there's no castle for Sitaux. Whereas there is a castle for Dragonstar. This is ridiculous. These 25 wagons, by the way, have 51 kills. And the Trebs continue to take out town centers, buildings, what have you. For Dragonstar, he's going to need an answer to this. Sitaux's going to try and build up a TC over here. But there's, unfortunately, wagons coming into this middle area now. Knocking on the door. And I'm still not seeing a single answer to these wagons. You got 20 attack on them, 250 HP. It is just an awkward unit to deal with. And it really strong against ranged units. And I don't think the Bohemians necessarily even need that. Like, they don't have a weakness against ranged units because they have so many good ranged units of their own. But this wagon, underutilized at a high level right now. And I think it's just one Dragonstar of the game. I really wonder if Dragonstar would have made them if he had better food eco in this game. Like, it's almost the fact that he didn't have good food eco that made him make something that was wood and gold. And maybe something I'll ask him at some point. But poor Sitaux has worked so hard. I feel so bad for him. But he still is only at 100 population. He actually has a similar economy, at least with the numbers, but he just doesn't have the units now. And he's trying to convert the wagons, which is a lot of clicking. And of course you need monks for that, and monks cost gold, and gold is going to be tough to come by pretty soon if his base in the middle gets found. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. I mean, Sitaux does have quite a bit of monks. Quite a few monks, actually. He got some nice conversions here to hold this position. Sitaux sees the castle coming up here from Dragonstar and can start to shoot it. Where's Dragonstar's forward villagers? Oh, they're farming! They're farming! Okay, so I was wondering if he's going to drop another castle. He doesn't actually have the stone. He's kind of running out of gold here. He's farming here as well. See, he can see the fish traps. If you were to pay attention to it, it's kind of hard to notice it. This game is just ridiculous. A trade card for Dragonstar. That's a misclick. I don't think he's going to trade with the enemy as a flex here, guys. No disrespect intended. And that's going to be the 4th relic there for Dragonstar. And he's had quite a few relics in this game, which has bought him resources. But he's going to lose this castle. And the monks for Sitaux trying to convert these pesky, pesky wagons. Let's see how many conversions they get. Again, the units just die. They don't actually switch sides, unfortunately, for him. But it is a very satisfying unit to see just get destroyed. This is worth it. I mean, also, Heresy paid off big time for both of them in this game. That's a lot of wagons going down. This game may continue. If he can continue to do this, this whole group of wagons will be gone. And then here, he's got more wagons underneath his castle. Again, they don't care about your castle fire. But Dragonstar will probably lose this castle. It's just like, how realistic is it for you to use monks over the long term here? I don't know. Like, at what point does Dragonstar just mix in Lightcav? I guess that would be the play. He's going to drop more. No, he says, who needs Lightcav? I just make more monks than you. What a weird game. I guess Dragonstar lost the castle, which he'll be disappointed by, but he is also now going to destroy the castle from Sitaux, meaning that Sitaux is just in this one little area, completely surrounded. And Sitau's got nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Oh, there's a dock coming up now, or it has come up. But in the same area, Dragonstar's losing some villagers. He has noticed that, though, and immediately queued up a bunch of fires there. I think we know who's going to win this game at this point, right? Like, just looking at the populations and the positions, right? Like, Sitaux has nowhere to go. He is officially surrounded. Like, this is a straight-up surround. I've used, you know, you're surrounded on Arena before, where there's wood lines on the backside. But no, you were just, like, completely encircled in a way that's so unique. But man, what a fight from Sitaux, who still doesn't want to give up here. He's even going to make a desperate run in here to try and convert a Treb. Oh yeah, come on, you can do it. You got to stand right next to a Treb to convert it, though, which is the problem. Oh, he got it! He got one! This is how he can delay it. Oh, he's going to get two? Oh! He got two! And okay, he's not going to get the third, but still, that's something. But, I mean, you still just have this, and he calls the GG and says, well played. And what a game! What a game, dude! What a game. Hardy, can we edit in a heat map on the mini-map? Or of the mini-map, just to show how this game progressed? That was ridiculous. What a fun map, what a fun game. It felt like both players knew. Even in Feudal Age, both players said, okay, fast imp. Right? Like, Sitaux created some army, but it clearly expected it from Dragonstar, so the preparation was there. That whole game was just freaking ridiculous. Now, I really wonder how this game goes if Sitaux had ever built a lumber camp in this area. Because he's got a good economy and he's slowly losing ground. If he had the option in these moments to swing Lightcav over here, I think he wins this game. But he would have had the chop, right? And obviously he would have had to chop here a bit earlier too. So it's just a lot of forward thinking, which is not so easy. And yeah, I guess that's the biggest thing. It's like right now, I guess you have one Vil. I remember this Vil walled this and stayed in here. But if he's through at this point, or even soon after, and is able to raid with Lightcav, instead of trying to push this with a castle necessarily, maybe then he's okay. But that was just a slog. I don't think we can say either player really made mistakes. I think you could make arguments that Sitaux actually had to work harder in this game than Dragonstar ever did after Dragonstar won the initial Treb War. We got heresy from both of them. We had Cav, we had Gunpowder, we had Navy, we had Monks, we had various forms of siege and just different ways of approaching the game. That was fun to watch. 87,000 resources collected there from Sitaux. Sitaux collected 13,500 more resources in food. In food alone, if I'm doing the math. Maybe not in a half. Yeah, let's just say like 13,000 more food. But Dragonstar had so much stone and gold, and Dragonstar was taking really good engagements. The conversions, there's actually more conversions for Sitaux, but the KD for Dragonstar was disgusting. And I think a lot of that changed when he started to make the wagons. And then obviously he had Halbs out there against mainly Lightcav for some time. I'm still very curious. Like, I have to explain it from a player perspective, right? Like, sometimes there are situations where you plan for a unit. Other times there are situations where you say, I can't make my ideal unit. I can't go for my ideal comp. And I really wonder if Dragonstar, if at one point is trying to add farms to get more food for Halbs, and then he just realizes I can't do it, and then he makes wagons, or if it was all part of his plan to eventually make those wagons. I think probably a mix of both would be my guess based on how things played out, but it was really the perfect unit to mix in at this stage. There's no easy counter to it out there from his opponent, and he had enough castles too. So situationally, it was very strong. So I hope people enjoyed that game. So this is a pretty big result in Titans League. And just to, explain the format for those that are maybe interested, it's a promotion relegation system within Age, and this is our third season, okay? Dragonstar was 4th place at the conclusion of Season 2, which kept him alive in gold. Sitaux was in the upper league in Platinum and got relegated down 2 gold. So this result, a player who stayed alive in gold versus a player who was in Platinum and barely got relegated, this is a pretty big result here and a really big win for the player from India. So, over the next couple weeks, both Dragonstar and Sitaux are going to play other players in their group. And I have no doubt in my mind that they're going to do well, but how far they go, where they go exactly is kind of interesting from here on out. If you guys want to see the prior games from this series and you're watching on the main YouTube channel, check the description. We had some really good games. We also had a game which was really bad, but anyways, you could watch the full best of there. You could also just sub to the extras channel where I just upload all the sets regardless. So, great game. What was the res collected again? I just want to look at this one more time. Dang. 87k versus 71k. And Dragonstar's still able to get the job done just by pushing the middle. It just works really well on these maps that are somewhat closed and choke pointy, right? If this was open in any way, shape, or form, I'm sure Sitaux would have been able to escape faster, use some speed, but he was stuck.